Dang, it's cold in here.
And will incur a 1 cent per minute charge if you continue. Hang up now to avoid the charge.
You can hang up now.
Welcome. This service is for There is one other participant in the conference. Please announce yourself.
What's up, Carol?
Hey, how you doing?
All right. She better not. Ooh, boy. I don't know why people think. No, I don't think. Well, I don't know why I think people be making plates and then they be talking about they finna start catering. Woo. You might wanna not sell that. You know what I mean? You might not want. How things going with you right now, Carol? How things going? I thought you always stayed at your grandma's house.
No, I'm not.
So I thought you always stayed at your grandma's house.
Oh, no. No, back in my mom's house. A couple months. I'm back over here. Me and my brother keep live like that. Watch out for my grandma. Even though she don't want to do nothing.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We're gonna hit a little bit of that stuff that you seen on that post last night, and then I'm not gonna spend too long on it. Matter of fact, I'm gonna see because I got something else in mind because it might go along with you know what I'm saying? Go along with what I already had in my head to look at. But you know, I see a lot of things all the time. So you know what I mean? So a lot of stuff, you know, just say something. Some stuff ain't gonna say nothing. I'll put it this way, sometimes when they'll say something and be like, you just expressing it. Like I was telling you last night, you just expressing it for the point of view, for the perspective, not necessarily because you're trying to debate or argue with anybody or nothing like that. You know what I mean? I know sometimes dudes get so caught up with people that are trying to debate and argue, you know what I'm saying, that they can confuse that, you know what I'm saying? I'm so far past that. Like, I don't have time for that. Got bigger fish to fry. But one of the things we're going to look at prayerfully this evening is 1 Corinthians chapter something in 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Also, shoot, it's a good chance. It ain't been confirmed. Don't know yet. We might be down your way by the end of the month, man. We'll see what the Most High will be. It'll be a will. We might be down that way, man. They having a little summit down south. But it ain't nothing but one West Camp's going to be at the summit. But there's another reason on us sliding down there for it that I ain't going to mention quite yet because it ain't guaranteed that we going to go down there. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see, man. How far Fort Lauderdale is from your city?
For me?
Yeah. You the only one to stay close to Fort Lauderdale, girl. 2 hours.
1 or 2 hours, probably. I don't know.
You don't know? You ain't never been to Fort Lauderdale?
That was a long time ago, though. Went there for a couple times for that air show, air and boat show.
You know, you look like you like to go to the air and boat show. Watch the airplanes do loop-de-loops. Well, they do have a lot of, they have an air show here. You know, the Blue Angels come down here, man. Them people be on that beach extra deep. Yeah, they do now. You be down there extra deep. Extra deep. Hold on. Leah and Lizzie, go get your hats. It's showtime.
Fort Lauderdale was the first time I got sunburned.
Sunburn? This old extra dog nigga here talking about
Yeah.
she got a sunburn.
First time I ever knew black people get sunburned, I got sunburned.
Yeah, my auntie used to get sunburn. She was a little she wasn't that light. She lighter than she was lighter than you though. She was lighter than you though. Shoot. Leah and Lizzie. Where they at? Oh.
Yeah, hour and 23 minutes, Google says.
Hour and a half. Well, that's like riding up.
Yeah.
Well, that's like riding Daytona Beach then. Something like that. That ain't that far though. Well, we finna go ahead and pray, little muffin. You ready? Cause they ain't gonna come back. They ain't gonna come from back though. Till they ready to holler. Cause somebody done they tore us Sunday. Everybody that's watching, you know, y'all bless. In the name of YAHUSHA, we appreciate y'all. Gonna try to be brief as possible. Go get your hat. Bring it here then. So you heard me anyway. So you did hear me. Come on, Renee. Come on, Renee. Now you're gonna look like one of them old white ladies. Look like one of them old white ladies. Look at somebody and say, I never. You ready, little muffin? How she look? She got to do it. Come on, Leah. Who is that, Lizzie? Lizzie. Who is that, Lizzie? Uncle Wayne. You don't know how to talk when you want to eat that sandwich, when you wanted some of that salad, though. Act like you ain't know how to say please, though. Come on, boy. Come on, Linus. You got to put that down. The blanket, too. Okay, come on, man. That boy don't want to let go of the blanket. All right, y'all. Righteous Father Yahuwah, we thank you for the mercies which you have shown to this people. People whom you have named Yasharal, also to the Yahudim and to the heathen. Guide us according to the righteousness of the faith of your Son, Yahushua HaMashiach, and strengthen us according to the Ruach HaKadosh, that everlasting life might dwell in us, that we might be quickened, that we might be guided, that we might be led by thy Ruach, that we might show forth ourselves to be the sons of the living Elohim. Let thy spirit dwell in us and strengthen us in all things, and let us endure all things. Remember all the synagogues and assemblies of Yahuwah in the four corners of the earth. Let them gather together perfect in one. And Yahushua HaMashiach. Let the esteem and honor of Yahuwah Elohim might be expounded in the earth, that all knees might bow and tongues might confess. Remember our Kaddish apostles and prophets that paid the way of the faith and send laborers into thy harvest, for the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. That the word which you covenanted with our fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob might be fulfilled. That we might be returned into the place that you swore unto them, unto Jerusalem, to dwell with thee, to see thee, to praise thee, to serve thee, to be delivered from death, that the curse might be removed, that we might dwell with thee eternally, to dwell in New Jerusalem, which come down from Shamaim, that we might have a new name written, that we might have white robes and palms in our hands, that we might show forth the praise of him who created us. Remember, assembly the firstborn individually and collectively, and let the love of Hamashiach dwell in our hearts by faith. Let us be guided according to thy truth, to stand upon thy word in all things, and let us manifest the true love of Elohim, towards him and towards man, that all men might know that Yahuwah is Elohim and Shamahim and the rest, and that men might confess their iniquities and sins and turn from them, that their souls might be saved. As we proceed further, Father, we ask thee for a word from on high, word of truth and righteousness to come to us, that we may know him that is true, that we are in him that is true, even our Son Yahushua HaMashiach. This is the true Elohim and eternal life. Father, we give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yahuwah by Hashem Yahushua this day. So be it. Bye-bye, man. Bye-bye, Lizzie. I'm going to go ahead and share something with y'all, man. I had went over this. I dropped this on the brother last night. He was just talking about a particular matter. You can go and get John 5:39. I really wasn't trying to debate, just trying to really share some information with him. And then, he could look at it and do with it as he will. But first and foremost, we give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushua this day. John 5:39 says this: Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I'm going to go through this, and I'm going to be very brief. And then we're going to dig into the main crux of the matter at hand. Job chapter 16. Let me see what verse 14 say, because verse 14 is standing out in my head for some reason. Well, 15 came first, and then 14 came to my head for some reason. So let me see what that says. Job 6 and 14. Outstanding. Praise Elohim. Yeah, it'll definitely work, because it'll tie into what we got. Back it up to verse 11. It'll tie into the main crux of the topic of the evening. So praise y'all. So what is my strength that I should hope? This is a question that is being asked by Job. What is my strength that I should hope? And what is my end that I should prolong my life? Is my strength the strength of stones, or is my flesh of brass? It is not my help in me, and wisdom driven quite from me. To him that is afflicted, pity should be showed from his friend, but he forsake the fear of the Almighty. My brethren have dealt deceitfully as a brook, and as the stream of the brooks they pass away, which are blackish by reason of the ice, wherein the snow is hid. What time they wax warm, they vanish. When it is hot, they are consumed out of their place. The paths of their way are turned aside, and they go to nothing and perish. You know, I picked the wrong verse. I meant chapter 16, but nevertheless, this worked out well. So, before I even get to Job 16, because I meant 16 and I'm in chapter 6. You know what I'm saying? And let me see what verse 14 say. Verse 14 still, nevertheless, is going to work out well with what we got to look at too. So on that, so praise y'all. So let's look at verse 11. Let's look at the key thing that he had. What is his strength that he should hope? And what is his end that he should prolong his life? So then we need to sit back and look at what would be his strength that he should hope. You know, we talked about this recently, and we're going to go to a verse that I always mention to people all the time because it's very, very important. And that is Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 3, and we shall look at it now. Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 3. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to tell y'all something real, man. Real rap. All the way live, all the way like this here, man. You get 100 people and preaching the word, 5 of them might actually believe it. Like really believe it from the heart, from the soul, from the inward parts. You know what I'm saying? Deep down to the essence of who they are. Because Elohim will have opened their hearts up to be able to receive that. You know what I'm saying? Now, I just was talking to Will about this here. I'm talking about not even too long before I started. Before I cut this thing on. And this is real talk. And he mentioned it because I had just talked to him about this beforehand. When you look at the world, a lot of people fall right into that. The cares and affairs of this life choke off the word that it don't bring forth no fruit. That everything else comes in the way and comes into play will stop you from growing in the word because you worry about everything else but serving this man. You know what I'm saying? That's where situations come in, cause you to doubt, cause you to waver, cause you to buckle, cause you to fold. You know what I'm saying? And then the number one thing that a nigga will do is they will blame somebody else for their behavior and not take responsibility. This man say a humble and contrite spirit will dwell with him. You know, if you make a mistake, you'd have to be adult enough, man or woman enough to acknowledge and take responsibility for that mistake. Own it, you know what I'm saying? And then move forward and correct it. So if you want to be a friend to somebody, the best way to sit back to be a friend to somebody is if they're doing something that's detrimental to them, that not only that you just don't tell them that, hey, you wrong, but that you can actually offer a solution to where they could correct it and change it. You know, a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people just point out what somebody's doing wrong, but they don't offer a solution. See, that's the difference. See, if you could point out what somebody's doing wrong, but if you offer a solution, that means you actually wanted to see this person become better than what they're doing at that present time. If you're not offering a solution, and you're doing what the Pharisees did, you just pointing the finger. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, I'll show you what that is before we read Isaiah 26. Look at Isaiah 58. This is what you would be doing if you're not coming offering a solution. Isaiah chapter 58. Verse 4. He said, behold, you fast for strife and debate, and to smite with the fist of wickedness. He said, ye shall not fast as you do this day, to make your voice heard on high. And see, that's what he say, to smite with the fist of wickedness. You know what I'm saying? Putting forth the finger and pointing and accusing and, you know what I'm saying, condemning and laughing and wanting to stone somebody. But you're not offering a solution to where this person can change that. That's why a lot of people come at people with the word to smite with the fist of wickedness, just to point out what a nigga doing. See, you know what I'm saying? I put it to you this way, right? If you really sincerely rock with the word, you're not going to have a lot of friends. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to have a lot of friends. Like if you're just dealing with we Israel and you dropping knowledge, everybody will love you, man. They'll readily accept it, man. You know, people love you. When you start dealing with how we supposed to actually live and preaching a Mashiach, that condemns people's behavior and lifestyle. And they don't want to be your friend anymore. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to be your friend anymore. See, preaching a Mashiach can condemn a behavior but give a man a solution in the same breath. Because at the end of the day, it's about giving somebody a solution to their problem that they could fix it. You know what I'm saying? Most people don't want a solution to their problem because they like to wallow in pity and sorrow. You know what I'm saying? And victimhood and not take responsibility. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to be a servant of the Most High, you have to be somebody who be willing to take responsibility. Because if you can be willing to take responsibility from a humble and contrite heart, you know what I'm saying? Then he can forgive you according to his own word. He said a humble and contrite heart he wouldn't despise. You know what I'm saying? And that comes from taking responsibility. Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 3. He said, thou wilt keep him in perfect shalom, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusts in thee. Trust ye in Yahuwah forever, for in Yahuwah is everlasting strength. Now, Most High willing, this is going to make a lot of sense when we get back around. So let's come back to that Job chapter 6, right? He say, where's my strength? What is my strength that I should hope? And what is my end that I should prolong my life? What is going to be your end that you should prolong your life? Let's look at Matthew chapter 24. Hello?
Yeah, that's Dan.
What's happening with you, bro? Hey, I'm going to have to holler at you too, man, to get more specific about what you asked about earlier today. Hello? What's happening with you, bro? Because I'm going to need some specifics, Stanley, to make the, so I can get that done. So we look.
Alright, cool.
See what I'm saying? So let's look at Matthew chapter 24. Let's look at verse 9 or verse 8. Remember, now he's asking this question, what is his strength that he should hope? And he asks, is my strength the strength of stones, or is my flesh of brass? Is not my help in me? He says, not my help in me. And wisdom driven quite from me. To him that is afflicted, pity should be showed from his friend. We have to think about that. We've dealt with this verse 14 before in the past, but now we're going to deal with it a little different. I'm going to just go ahead and tell you that verse 15 when he say, my brethren have dealt deceitfully as a brook, and as the stream of brooks they pass away. They ain't talking about nobody but Judas and the Pharisees, because they definitely dealt deceitfully with the man. You know what I'm saying? But we're not trying to focus in on that. It is something we're going to focus on, but it's not something we're going to focus on. Let's look at this Matthew 24 and 8. Let's look at what he said. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. This, to a certain extent, is what Job is going through. He's being afflicted. Now, he's not being hated by all nations, but in actuality, he's being hated by his own friends. These are his friends, and they see what he got going on, and all they did was point the finger and smite with the fist of wickedness. They did not come up with a solution. They did not come up with a solution to what he had going on. All they wanted to sit back and say is, he had to be doing something wrong. He's this, he's that, he's this, he's that. You know what I'm saying? That's all they were doing. They say it's got to be a reason why he going through this. He got to be wicked. He got to be this. He got to be that. You know what I'm saying? And that's how people do. You know, you really want to know why they did Job like that? Because they knew Job was on point. They were his friends. They knew how Job lived. They knew what type of time Job was on. They knew. When you round somebody, like Paul said, you see our manner of life. When you round somebody on a day-to-day basis, consistently, you deal with them, you know what type of time it is. If you round a nigga, you know if a nigga phony or not. You know if a nigga's not what he says he is. I just had somebody tell me the other day that based on their personality, that people thought that they were fake and phony based on their personality. And they wondered if I had ever thought that about them. And I'm like, it never crossed my mind, only because I was able to identify this is your personality and this is who you are. You know what I'm saying? And it's only because we see certain personality traits and types that we're not used to, that we just automatically assume somebody phony. Because either we phony or we so used to dealing with phony people. You know what I'm saying? That we can't even consider that someone could genuinely be that way. You know what I'm saying? And that's sad. Hello? Shalom, Brother Derek. You know, and that's sad. When you come out with dealing with the word, people just automatically assume that people don't live like they say they live because of how people behave. You know what I'm saying? Matthew 24:9, right? 24:10. And then shall many be offended and shall betray one another and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. And because of iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that endured to the end, the same shall be saved. So come on around here to 1 Corinthians chapter 13 while we looking at this Job 6. Because he said, what is my end that I should prolong my life? What is going to be the end game? What is going to be the cause that I should keep on living? And I'm going to pull the word up in Hebrew right here, man, because I got a feeling it might be telling something a little different. Just wait on that 1 Corinthians 13. Because 1 Corinthians, this is a little thing in 1 Corinthians 13. That's what we come around here to focus on. But I'm going to share with y'all something that I mentioned to the brother last night that I ain't never showed y'all before. And I feel like if I'm going to sit back and put that on there for the sake of edification to somebody, I'd have to show it to y'all. When we sit back and we look at the end, this cast is just the end of time or space or end of a process. What is my end that I should prolong my life? Well, let's look at the end of how you should prolong your life in John chapter 10 and verse 16. And we'll sit back and we can look at where our strength and where our hope is going to come from that we can prolong our life. And it's going to go back to the very thing that I'm talking about, because I'm talking about loving y'all right here. Because love is a word scripturally that is thrown around a lot. You know what I'm saying? And we've been talking about it recently over the last month or two. You know what I'm saying? Of actually being able to expound and show forth the love of Elohim. Because people say love, but niggas don't really be having love in their heart though. You know what I'm saying? Because you could tell me anything. You know what I'm saying? I've been in the streets. I done experienced fake love. I done had fake homeboys. I know, like, this nigga's not really happy for you. This nigga don't really like you. This nigga just tolerates you or deals with you because he feel like he has to. You know what I'm saying? Because he might feel like he's deriving some type of benefit from a nigga. You know what I'm saying? I can't remember the Lock song. I do remember the Lock song. I know Styles P. I just can't remember the name of the song. But if I was to sit back and think on it, it'd probably come. But I remember this here, right? That nigga Styles P said, if I don't like a nigga, I don't even be bothered. You know what I'm saying? But we live in a society where people don't like people, and they get in their face, and they smile, and they give. Boy, ain't nothing worse in the world to see a nigga give a nigga a fake dap, knowing first chance he get, he gonna rob him and kill him. First chance he get, he'll blow his whole dome loose. Or give a nigga a dap, hug a nigga, talk about him like a dog. Nigga done showed him love and all. That's why Paul sat back and talked about that. Talking about he in peril of fake brethren and all that stuff. That stuff all through the word. And to all intents and purposes, Job's friends were showing this when they were castigating him and ridiculing him and casting aspersions on him. You know what I'm saying? They were showing that they were never his friends, because friends don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Friends don't do that. That's not what a friend does. You know what I'm saying? So this is why he say if you endure to the end, you'll be saved. Because there's a lot of things that you may have to endure. And one of the reasons why I mention this here is long suffering. Because it says that love suffers long. That's taking injury with patience, or going through trials, or going through sufferings and continuing. If you love Yahuwah, you'll persevere through that. You'll keep going. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to actually look at that as forth as a Mashiach's long suffering and his perseverance in the midst of being injured and doing nothing wrong. But we got to see what my strength is and what is the hope that I would prolong the end of my life. Because we know if your mind is stayed on Yah, that means you trust in him. A lot of people's mind is not stayed on him. And it shows forth that they don't trust him. This goes back to what I mentioned with that parable of the sower. Because the cares and affairs of this life and the deceitfulness of riches choke off the word, it can't bring forth no fruit. Because your mind is not stayed on him. Now don't get it twisted. There's absolutely nothing wrong with having goals and ambitions. You know what I'm saying? And working towards something. But you got to have, everything got to have its proper place. And you have to have a proper perspective. And things have to be, and your priorities have to be straight. You know what I'm saying? That's all that is. Because he never told you, he told you he was the one that gave you power to get wealth. So he never told you that you couldn't prosper or have certain things. You know what I'm saying? Or you couldn't do certain things. It was your priorities. Dang, I just forgot the word I mentioned. It's just your priorities. How you line things up. How you go after things and do things. You know what I'm saying? Where's your focus at? Because if you get focused on, I want to be successful naturally versus being successful spiritually, then he just going to let you have that. He's just going to let you have that. Because you're not going to be able to have both. It's forth as a singular focus, because one is going to push one out of the way. You know what I'm saying? That's all that it is. One's going to push that one out of the way. And also it comes in also dealing with if you love money or not. Because he didn't say, you know, a lot of people say it. He didn't say money was evil. He said the love of it was evil. Because as I told you many times before, when you love money, that means you'll do anything for it. Because you're coveting it, you're lusting after it, you're desiring it, and you'll do things out of pocket to get it. You know what I'm saying? If you look at money as a tool, as a means to an ends, to get things accomplished, then you won't have that problem. John chapter 10. That's why the master told you take heed of covetous, because a man's life does not consist in the abundance of things that he possesses. That's something that we always need to remember. John chapter 10 and verse 16. I make it 17. My apologies. Therefore doth my Father love me, because I lay down my life that I might take it again. So look at what he stated why the Father loved him. Because he laid his life down. Which means he had some strength in him to be able to prolong his life. So this man loved this man because he was willing to be able to make this sacrifice. No man take it from me, but I lay it down of myself, and I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it again. This commandment have I received of my Father. So he said, I have power to take it. He said, I got power to lay my life down, and I got power to pick it up. So this is where my strength and my hope is, and how I'm able to prolong my life. And we have to be able to sit back and look at that and see that in our own selves. See, let's look at something in Hebrews chapter 13. Because we know that we're dealing with immersion that's dealing with what? This is where your strength and where your hope lies. He says, your strength in stones is your flesh brass. Well, you should know that your strength is in stones, because Hamashiach is the chief cornerstone. Say the builder's stone that the builders reject has become the headstone of the corner. And this is Yahuwah's doing, and it's marvelous in his eyes. So your strength is in the stone. It's in the stone where this man told you, any man that hear my words and hearken unto him is like a man who built this house upon a rock. So you have to remember that your strength is in Yahusha. Your strength is in the word. Therefore, that's where your hope would rest. And then you would know the end of how you would prolong your life. Because Hamashiach already knew in order to prolong life, he had to die. So we have to sit back and look at that. In order for us to prolong life, we have to die, which means you'd have to be willing to suffer, which means you would have to be willing to endure, which means you would have to be long-suffering. And therefore, you would be manifesting the love of Elohim, and therefore Elohim would love you because you lay your life down. This is the essence of actually love. See, we say love, but how many people actually love, though? Because niggas say it all the time. I'm talking about saying they love Yah. I ain't even talking about they love they brother. I'm talking about saying they love Yah. How many people actually really love it? Because what I'm stating right now at this point, and most High willing before we get out of here, because it's going to be shown scripturally and through the epistles, is that faith equals love. Faith is going to equal love. Trust in Yahuwah is going to equal love. Because you would have to love this man to endure what you're doing. Therefore, he'll love you in return because you believe in him. Let's look at Hebrews 13, though. Praise y'all for the word. Hopefully it makes sense by the time we're done. Hebrews 13 Verse 8, Hebrews 13 and 8, man. Hebrews 13 and 8. We got a little time. YAHUSHA HaMashiach, the same yesterday, today, and forever. Be not carried about with diverse and strange doctrines, for it is a good thing that the heart be established with favor, not with meats, which have not profited them that have been occupied therein. We have an altar whereof they have no right to eat, which serve the tabernacle. For the bodies of those beasts whose blood is brought into the sanctuary by the high priest for sin are burned without the camp. Wherefore YAHUSHA also, that he might sanctify the people with his own blood, suffered without the gate. Let us go forth therefore unto him without the camp, bearing his reproach. Now this is referring to, the scapegoat. And then it's sitting back saying how Mashiach suffered outside the gate and that we ought to go with him and bear that dishonor. See, a lot of people don't want to go outside that gate and suffer with him. See, now we'll look at 1 Corinthians 13 now. Because remember, we're looking at John 10. He say, no man take my life, I lay it down. You have to sit back and look at it. Can't nobody force you to lay your life down for Yahuwah. You got to lay it down yourself. Can't nobody make you follow the word. Can't nobody make you die to your flesh. Can't nobody make you mortify your members. You can't make nobody else do it. No matter how bad or how much you want them to do it. You can't make nobody do that. You got to want to do it. See, niggas got excuses for why they can't do this or why they can't do that. If they make a stupid decision, it's somebody else's fault. No, it's your fault, nigga. You control your own behavior. Nobody else has any control over your behavior. Can people discourage your faith? Absolutely. A lot of times ain't nobody discourage your faith. You're just looking to blame someone. And the time has to come. I was raised from a child. You got to accept the consequences for your actions and take responsibility for them. If we're going to profess that we men and we women, then you have to be willing to take responsibility for what you do. If you did it, just own it and go forward. You know what I'm saying? Get it right. That's it. 1 Corinthians 13, right? I got to crank it up a notch. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4. Say, charity suffer long and is kind. Charity envy not. Charity vaunt not itself, is not puffed up. Doth not behave itself unseemly, seeks not her own, is not easily provoked, and think no evil. Rejoice not in iniquity, but rejoice in the truth. Listen to what he tell you now. Bear all things, believe all things, hope all things, and endure all things. Well, what I just read, we're just going to really focus on the suffering long, the bearing all things, the believing all things, and the hoping all things, and the enduring all things. He said this is what love would do. Now, when we sit back and we look at what Paul is stating about love would do, this is clearly not talking about keeping any commandments. It's clearly not talking about that. And it's clearly not talking about necessarily loving someone else. It's clearly not, it's not even talking about that. You know what I'm saying? It's not even talking about that. And I ran this making me think about one of the memories that had popped up when we look at enduring all things and suffering all things. So we'll probably rehash that and deal with that. But let's look at this first thing, right? I'm trying to pull up the words right here. The Greek word right here when we look at bear all things. And that Greek word right there, it's basically to keep secret or conceal or to covering or to bear up against or hold against and so endure. Basically we're looking at endure or to suffer. Silence, endure patiently. Let's look at something in Lamentations chapter 3. He said you need to bear all things. So you need to endure. Remember he said, he that endured to the end, the same shall be saved. Job asked a question. We even started him in Job chapter 6. He asked a question. I'm going to reread that question for you as soon as I get around there in a timely fashion. Job stated, what is my strength that I should hope, and what is my end that I should prolong my life? What is my end that I should prolong my life? What is the strength of my hope? It's my strength in stones. So you got to be willing to bear all things, to endure and to suffer all things. You have to be willing to do that. What I just mentioned, what I just said I was finna go at, man. I'm too old. Like I said, I'm old, but I ain't that old for my mind to be so bad. Come on around here to 1 Samuel chapter 24. Let's look at what it means to sit back and to bear all things or to endure or to suffer. We're going to sit back and we're going to look at Saul and David. And just as a simple thing about long suffering, taking injury with patience. You know what I'm saying? We'll pull that Greek word for long suffering for you real fast. When you look at long suffering, that's to be of a long spirit, to persevere patiently, to bravely endure misfortune and troubles, to be patient in bearing the offenses and injuries of others, slow to anger and slow to punish. Slow to anger and slow to punish. Taking on the offenses of others. Let's look at this 1 Samuel chapter 24, and let's see an example of that. 1 Samuel 24 and 5. Say it came to pass afterwards that David's heart smote him because he cut off Saul's skirt. And he said unto his men, Yahuwah forbid that I should do this thing unto my master. Yahuwah is anointed to stretch forth my hand against him, seeing he anointed of Yahuwah. Remember now, this is showing you how love is not unseemly. Listen to what he say, right? He say, love envieth not. David already know the kingdom is going to be translated to him, yet he didn't envy Saul. Yet Saul envied David when he say what more he had of the kingdom. They tell me Saul killed thousands, but David killed 10,000. So Saul was surely not manifesting the love of Elohim towards David because he had envy in his heart towards him. The same thing that the scribes and Pharisees came back down with later, where we know Pilate stated that he knew that they delivered Hamashiach to them because of envy. The same thing that Joseph's brothers showed because of the dreams that he had, that they envied the man and therefore they gave him up to death. See, that's what happened. When you got envy in your heart towards somebody, right situation or circumstance, you'll kill him. And we have a constant theme of that. That anytime you've seen anybody in this book that envied someone, they were ready to kill them. And we know that he that have hate in his heart towards his brother is a murderer, and no murderer have eternal life abiding in them. How are we going to have the love of Elohim in our heart and you envying somebody else? He say, love envieth not. So if you got the love of Elohim in you, you wouldn't dare envy another person. So we could sit back and we could look at Saul, and we could look at the scribes, and we could look at Cain, and we could see that the love of Elohim was not in them. This is why the master came back and said, I know you, for the love of Elohim is not in you. Because they didn't have any long suffering. They envied. Their love was unseemly. Let's sit back and we look at when he say that love it doesn't behave itself unseemly. When we look at behaving ourselves unseemly, it means to act unbecomingly. So are we going to behave ourselves in a way that is not of Yahuwah? Say it's not easily provoked. It don't think no evil. Saying it don't lift itself up, it's not puffed up. Now, I just was talking to Will about it earlier. See, this is what happened with a lot of brothers too, man. I'm going to tell you something. This happened with a lot of brothers. Brothers get information. And through that information, they begin to have a self-inflated sense of grandeur in their mind to where they begin to look down on people. You know what I'm saying? Or they feel like they smarter or they better than people. You know what I'm saying? And you can tell it not just on the information that they impart, but how they impart it. You know what I'm saying? Or how they carry themselves, or how they speak down or condescendingly to other people. You know what I'm saying? It ain't talking about boldness of speech or plainness of speech or directness of speech. Just a simple fact. You know when a nigga think he better than you. You know that. You can tell that. It's undeniable. Where we at? Verse 7. So David stayed his servants with those words and suffered them not to rise against Saul. But Saul rose up out of the cave and went on his way. David also arose afterwards and went out the cave and cried after Saul, saying, My master the king. And when Saul looked behind him, David stooped with his face to the earth and bowed himself. See how love don't vaunt itself up or puff itself up? You got to remember, David already knows the kingdom is his. Yah has already told him this. But you see how that love that he had for Yah did not cause himself to lift himself up. Not even over Saul, but over the people when he reigned. And you see the master did the same thing when he told him the servant is not above his master. And this is going to something else as well. And bear with me, you'll see what it is in a moment. And David said to Saul, Wherefore hear thou the men's words, saying, Behold, David, seek thy hurt. Behold, this day thine eyes have seen how that Yahuwah delivered thee today into my hand in the cave. Some bade me kill thee, but my eyes spared thee. And I said, I will not put forth my hand against my master, for he is Yahuwah's anointed. Now, his servants are saying he should kill Saul because they know all the things that Saul had done to the man, whether throwing a javelin or sending him out there to collect all those foreskins, hoping he would get killed in the battle, and all these other things that Saul went about to do to kill this man. But yet you see the love that David had towards Yahuwah and exhibiting the attributes of Yahuwah by suffering this injury with patience. See, a lot of times people have alt against somebody who ain't actually did nothing to them. Like Saul was doing things to David, where David would have been justified in hurting this man. But yet you didn't see him quick to anger. You don't see him thinking of any evil. Because the love of Yahuwah was in him. The love of Elohim was in him. You know the most difficult thing in the world to do? To love somebody who you know don't like you. To do good to somebody who you know don't like you. Many people cannot do this. Drop down about verse 14. Matter of fact, I'll keep going where we at. We in verse 11. Moreover, my father, see yea, the skirt of thy robe in my hand. For in that I cut off the skirt of thy robe and killed thee not. Know thou and see that there is neither evil nor transgression in my hand. And I have not sinned against thee, yet thou hunt my soul to take it. This man say, I haven't sinned against you, though you seek to kill me. Yahuwah judge between me and thee. Yahuwah avenge me of thee, but my hand shall not be upon thee. And listen what he said, as saith the proverb of the ancients, wickedness proceed from the wicked, but my hand shall not be upon thee. That's what Master tell you, by their fruits you gonna know them. What else the Master say? You have of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He that commits sin is of the devil. So you have to sit back and look at that. This is why he say, cast them from amongst you your transgressions and sins, so iniquity will not cause your ruin. Because wickedness is gonna proceed from the wicked, because the love of many shall wax cold, iniquity shall abound. Because the love towards Elohim shall be cold as ice. It ain't gonna be nothing for people to commit sin and run amok. Nothing. You have to sit back and think about that. He said that's the dark saying of the ancients. Wickedness proceed from the wicked. So sin is going to proceed from Satan's children. They won't know how to do nothing else. After whom is the king of Yasharal come out? And whom dost thou pursue after a dead dog, after a flea? Yahuwah therefore be judge and judge between me and thee, and see and plead my cause, and deliver me out of thine hand. And it came to pass when David had made an end of speaking these words unto Saul, and Saul said, is this thy voice, my son David? And Saul lifted up his voice and wept. He said to David, thou art more righteous than I, for thou hast rewarded me good, whereas I have rewarded thee evil. See, that's long suffering right there. See, you'll sit back and you can look at it, right? In about Genesis chapter 50, I'm not mistaken, Joseph said to his brothers, what you meant to me for evil ended up being for good. See, it even say that in the Psalms. He say, for my good, they rewarded me with evil. So you have to turn around and look at it. Mashiach coming to lay his life down, and we rewarded him with evil by killing him. Yet he still endured that, and he still showed that kindness. See, hold this right here, 1 Samuel 24. Come look at Jeremiah 33, if I'm not mistaken. And after Jeremiah 33, Romans chapter 5. Jeremiah 33 and verse 1. No, that ain't what I want. It might be 31. Let me see. Let me see. I think it's 31. Yeah, it's 31. 31 and 1. My apologies. Jeremiah 31 and 1. At the same time, saith Yahuwah, will I be Elohim of all the families of Yasharal, and they shall be my people. Thus saith Yahuwah, the people which were left of the sword found favor in the wilderness, even Yasharal, when I went to cause them to rest. Yahuwah appeared of old unto me, saying, yea, I have loved thee with an everlasting love. Therefore with loving kindness have I drawn thee. With loving kindness have I drawn thee. John chapter 12. We get to Romans 5 in a second. He said, with loving kindness have I drawn thee. John chapter 12, verse 31. John 12 and 31. If I'm moving too fast, forgive me. I'm just trying to crank it up because it's about 8:10, and I ain't got much longer to go. Therefore, when he was gone out, YAHUSHA said, now is the Son of Man esteemed, and Elohim is esteemed in him. If Elohim be esteemed in him, Elohim shall... I'm sorry, I'm in chapter 13. Definitely not where I'm supposed to be at. 12 and 30, my apologies. Yahusha answered and said, this voice came not because of me, but for your sakes. Now is the judgment of this world. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out. Which that goes back to what we were talking about last week, about cast out the scorner, and strife and transgression, and all that stuff will cease. And I, if I be lifted up from their rats, will draw all men unto me. Because we know he said, Elohim so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. He said, with love and kindness, he would draw thee. And what is the strength, my strength that I should hope? And what is the end that I should prolong my life? Now this man just sat back and said, with love and kindness, he gonna draw thee. So what is the end that you will prolong your life? Is that you would love Elohim, because the Father would love you, because you would lay down your life for him. Therefore, because you would endure all things, and you would suffer all things, and you would believe and hope all things, the same way the Master believed and set his hope that Yahuwah would raise him from the dead and set him at his former estate, of which he had from the foundation of the world. And that's how we have to have our mind. This is actually taking on Mashiach's mind and actually becoming the love of Elohim towards man and Elohim. Romans chapter 5. Romans chapter 5. We look at verse 1. It's all the same. It's all dealing with what we're talking about. Therefore, being justified by faith, we have shalom with Elohim through our Master Yahushua HaMashiach, by whom also we have access by faith into his favor, wherein we stand and rejoice in the hope of the esteem of Elohim. And not only so, but we esteem in tribulations also, knowing that tribulations work patience. Again, he said, bear all things, endure all things. This is the exercising of patience. And patience experience, and experience hope. And hope make not ashamed, because the love of Elohim is shed abroad in our hearts by the Ruach HaKadosh, which is given unto us. For when we were yet without strength, in due time Mashiach died for the ungodly. For scarcely for a righteous man will one die, yet peradventure for a good man some would even dare to die. But Elohim commended his love towards us, and that while we were yet sinners, Mashiach died for us. And you notice that as he said he was going to be raised up upon this tree, that he said this would cause all men to come unto him, because he said he would draw you with loving kindness. Knowing that the love of Elohim is shed abroad in our hearts, because we would be willing to endure all things, and through that tribulation it would work patience, and through that patience it would work experience, and therefore it would bring about that hope. We seem to get an answer to Job's question. We seem to get an answer for Job's question. We seem to get to see of what will be the end of prolonging my life. The end of prolonging your life is to trust Elohim to lay your life down, knowing that he will cause you to pick it back up again at the last day. That's why he say, he that endured to the end, the same shall be saved. The Master endured all things, and at the end he was saved from death, so he could save us from death. Therefore, we have to be able to do all of these things. So again, this is just showing you what I've been telling you for the longest. To love Elohim is to believe in Elohim. This is superseding keeping some commandments, because that's not actually showing that you really have a heart that you love him. Because you can keep an instruction, and you can keep this instruction with no anticipation of receiving a reward. You keep it an instruction because you feel like this is what has to be done, and then I can seem righteous before men. The Master asked a question. He said, how can you believe that seek honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? And that is the majority of our people's problem at this very moment in time. A problem that myself included must guard ourselves from on a day-to-day basis, of never seeking the validation and honor from men over the validation and honor from Elohim. You know what I'm saying? Because it's real easy. You're a natural man. So it's real easy for any one of us to get caught in that. You know, some people have personalities naturally precluded to that, and some don't. I can't speak for everybody. I can speak for myself. I never sought attention because it made me uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Accolades and praise and all that type of stuff makes me uncomfortable. I don't really care for it. I'll duck it. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes people take it as you being rude and you being nasty, and you can't take a compliment. And then sometimes it's just hard to explain to people, like, you know, that it just makes me uncomfortable. That's all. It doesn't do anything for me. I don't really care for it. You know what I'm saying? But it's not that saying that you don't appreciate if somebody gives you a compliment or recognizes it. It's just everybody's different. Some people, it roll right off their back, and some people need constant validation and approval of others. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's different. You have to know yourself, and you have to know where you're weak, and then you have to know what you need to do to turn your weakness into a strength. That's it. You know what I'm saying? And praise the Lamb, the word does that for us. If we have ears to hear and a heart to understand and perceive, that we could be converted and healed. 1 Samuel chapter 24, verse 18. I'm sorry, we in verse 18. And thou hast showed this day how thou hast dealt well with me, for as much as when Yahuwah had delivered me into thy hand, thou killed me not. For if a man find his enemy, who will let him go well away? Wherefore Yahuwah rewarded thee for good that thou hast done unto me this day. That man say, if anybody find his enemy, who would let him go away? And you know what's crazy? Is that when Judas brought Hamashiach to Pilate, that Pilate, knowing that Hamashiach truly was his enemy because Pilate knowed he was a sinner, he was willing to let him go away. How many of you can sit back and look at you can run across your known enemy and not fight with them or exact any type of vengeance or retribution on them, knowing that Yahuwah would avenge you and prove forth your righteousness? Because you know the law say not to bear no grudge nor avenge on any against any of the children of your people. You know how many people going to go to hell because they got grudges in their heart towards somebody? You know how many people going to go to hell behind that? Matthew chapter 5 and verse 44. Matthew chapter 5 and verse 44. Matthew chapter 5 and verse 44. So to give you a perspective on, another just different perspective on this particular verse, that dudes try to say, see, that's Christianized. That's book. This is book. Where you think he got it from? You know the book, these things won't be difficult to understand. But I say unto you, love your enemies and bless them that curse you, and do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you, that you may be the children of your Father which is in Shamahim, for he make his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and send rain on the just and on the unjust. For if you love them which love you, what reward have ye? Do not even the publicans the same? If you salute your brethren only, what do you more than others? Do not even the publicans so. Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in Shamahim is perfect. So now this takes on a whole nother scenario, because this man just sat back and said that he causes it to rain on sinners and the just alike. You have to sit back and look at that. Are not sinners Yahuwah's enemies? Does he not say he hate the Psalm chapter 9 and Psalm 45? Let's just sit back and look who this man say he angry with. But yet he still feeds and clothes them and gives them rain, and yet you can't do the same. You ain't the children of Elohim according to what the Master said, and you definitely can't be perfect if you're not willing to do that. See, that's what we like to do. It's easy for you to love somebody who love you back, but you won't love somebody you know don't love you back or don't like you. That's the hallmark and the test of metal of a spiritually mature individual. What is it, 9 and 5? I might have been in the wrong verse there. Matter of fact, look at verse 2. See what he say? He said, when my enemies are turned back, they shall fall and perish at thy presence. For thou hast maintained my right and my cause, for thou sayest, in the throne judging right. Saddest, my apologies, in the throne judging right. Thou hast rebuked the heathen and destroyed the wicked. Thou hast put out their name forever and ever. O thou enemy, destructions are come to a perpetual end. Thou hast destroyed cities, for the memorial is perished with them. I think it was Psalm 7. I wanted though. It might be Psalm 3. Now he just sat back and what he stated, what he was going to do to his enemies. This man say that he is angry with the wicked every day. Angry with the wicked every day. So yet he's angry with these people y'all don't even sit back and realize, them people in the wilderness, right? Show you how Yahuwah love his enemies. Them people in the wilderness were murmuring against this man. They were sizing this man. They were trying this man. He gave him manna every day. He rained manna on him every day. He gave him places to dwell at. He was directing them in the land. They clothes didn't wax old. They shoes didn't wax old. When they were thirsty, when they complained, he still gave them something to drink. This is how he's showing you, be perfect as your Father which is in Shamahim is perfect. You ain't even sit back and realize them people were trying to master. He loved his enemies. He died. He could have said, man, I ain't dying for these niggas, man. I'm going back to the house, man. I'm not dying for these niggas. You know what I'm saying? I ain't doing it. He still loved his enemies and did it. He just didn't salute those that believed on him. He just didn't die for those that believed on him. He died for the wicked too. He died for the unbelievers too. This man showed you through his actions how he suffered all things and bared all things and endured all things, that he could draw you with love and kindness that you might repent. And that takes faith to be able to see that and execute that and do that. Psalm 45, because I can't recall the verse number. I might need to pull my other book out for that. I don't know this book, so. Hold on one second, y'all. Look at Psalms 9 to 17 real fast. That still ain't the verse I want to. It's in Psalms chapter 7 and verse 11. That's what I want. We'll read 9 and 17 first, though. 9 and 16, matter of fact. Yahuwah is known by the judgment which he execute. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. Higan Salah. That's what happened with Judas. He was snared in the work of his own hands. And you could be snared in the work of your own hands if you choose to work wickedness. The wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forget Elohim. So the wicked going to be turned to the grave. We're just looking at what their judgment is going to be. Let's look at Psalms chapter 7, verse 11. Elohim judged the righteous, and Elohim is angry with the wicked every day. Let's look at Psalm 45 and let's see what this man say about it. So you seeing that these are his enemies, but what does he do for these people? He calls the same manner of salvation to be offered and open to these same people who are his enemies. He don't look at sinners and say, I'm not going to send no rain on the ground. He don't look at sinners and say, I'm not going to feed them. He don't look at sinners and say, he don't do that. So if he can show love to people who don't love him, then why we can't do it? See, dudes look past that when they see that. Oh, that's that cracker stuff. That's that coon stuff. That's you not a Elohim stuff. The love of Elohim ain't in you, because that's what he do. That boy just went to crying out of nowhere. 45 and 7 Psalms. He says, thou love righteousness and hate wickedness. Therefore, Elohim, thy Elohim, have anointed thee with the oil of gladness above thy fellows. This man hates wickedness. Therefore, sinners would be his enemies. Yet he still manifests love towards them. He still does it. He still does it. Therefore, we have to do the same thing. Romans chapter 12, you got to do the same thing. That's going to be the hallmark and the test of your spirit. It's easy to love somebody you know going to love you back. It's easy to do that. Don't take no character to do that. Anybody can do it. Sinners do it. What is it? About 12 and 12? We'll take about 12 and 12. Rejoice in hope, patience in tribulation, continuing instant in prayer, distributing the necessities of the Kadeshim, giving to hospitality. Bless them which persecute you. Bless and curse not. Rejoice with them that do rejoice, and weep with them that weep. Be of the same mind one towards another. Mind not high things, but condescend to men of low estate. Be not wise of your own conceits. This is what David showed. He had the same mind to Saul that he had to another individual. He didn't mind high things or try to exalt himself above Saul, and he made himself of low estate. Even though Yah had already shown him he was going to be king over all of Yasharal. It's the same thing with the master. He humbled himself and became a servant. He made himself a man of low estate and taught his apostles to do the same. Recompense to no man evil for evil. Provide things honest in the sight of all men. If it be possible, as much lie in you, live peaceably with all men. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith Yahuwah. Therefore, if thy enemy hunger, feed him, and if he thirst, give him drink. In so doing, thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head. Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good. And that's the mind that we have to have. We don't even sit back and look at that, because that's a whole other thing in itself. Is that Hamashiach overcame evil with good, and he overcame evil, meaning sin and death and the wicked one, by laying his life down. Same thing Joseph did. So we have to sit back and look at this. This is how the master overcame. He overcame evil with good. What is good? The word is good. That's what he overcame by. He sat back and he overcame the wicked one by belief and enduring in the word. He was willing to suffer for the word. He told you in Luke 24 and 25, ought not Mashiach had suffered to enter into his esteem. This is the part you have to remember. Did not I need to suffer that I might be esteemed? So that's what show you how if the love of Elohim is in you, you will endure all things and you will suffer all things. And that's the part we don't want to do. We don't necessarily want to do that. We don't necessarily want to believe all things and hope in all things. Because the master say, I'll be rose on the third day. We know whether it's Hosea chapter 6, whether it's Genesis chapter 40. Doesn't matter. I know I mentioned Lamentations chapter 3, but I ain't get it. And then let's get it right now though. Let me get it right now because it just hit my head that I called for that and I ain't go around into it. Look at Lamentations chapter 3. Lamentations chapter 3. Lamentations chapter 3. Lamentations chapter 3, probably about verse 22. It is of Yahuwah's mercies that we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. Yahuwah is my portion, saith my soul. Therefore will I hope in him. Yahuwah is good unto them that wait for him, to the soul that seek him. It is good that a man should both hope and quietly wait for the salvation of Yahuwah. That's sitting back showing you, right? Mashiach told you on the third day he would raise. And that he did it quietly too. Because it said when they came at him, he didn't even speak. This is the thing you have to sit back and look at. It's a good thing to suffer and endure and wait for the salvation of Yahuwah. This is when you're looking at bearing all things. So David had bared all things through Saul and eventually was raised up to be king because he was able to bear all things and he endured all things. He believed what the man told him. Do you know how easy it would have been for David to sit back and look at, man, I ain't going to be king of Yasharal. This man keep trying to kill me, all that type of stuff. Man, I ain't going to never be king. Ain't no child going to raise up to the throne to sit on the throne and through my lineage, and I'm dealing with all of this here. It would have been easy for him not to believe that based on what he was going through and what he was dealing with. But because he put his belief and his hope in Yahuwah, he endured all of that, and then he ended up being king over all Yasharal. You know how easy it could have been for the master to sit back and be like, you know what? These people slapping me. They stoning me. You know what I'm saying? I'm hanging up here on this tree. Man, I ain't finna be. Let's look at John chapter 17. Look at what he sat back and look at. You got to understand, this had to be his hope, because why would he pray for it? John 17 and 4. Why would he pray for it? You know, Peter quoted Psalms chapter 2 and Acts 2 when he said that, you know, he would not suffer his Kadesh one to see corruption. Therefore, this man had the hope. The master steady told these people that he would resurrect on the third day. So he believed that, and that was his hope. That's the evidence of things hoped for, the things not seen. He didn't see himself being resurrected from the dead, but that's what he said his hope in. He said, what is my end that I should prolong my life? What was the end of what's going to prolong your life is faith in Yahushua HaMashiach. Who is he that overcome the world? But he that believe that Yahushua is the son of Elohim. He said, this is the victory, even our faith. That is the end of the whole entire equation. That's where you get to see where your strength is in the stones. Your strength is in the chief cornerstone. He say the stone which the builders allowed. He say to those that believe, he's elect and precious. But to those who believe not, who are disobedient, they stumbling at the stumbling stone. John 17 and 4. He say, I have esteemed thee on their wrath, and I have finished the work which thou gave me to do. Now, O Father, esteem thou me with thy own self, with the esteem which I had with thee before the world was. So he had to believe that he was going to be set right back at the right hand of the Father where he began. See, I'll show you an instance where he said it. Look at John chapter 3, verse 14, and then John chapter 6. And you can sit back and see how he believed this, and he said his hope in this. He said, my Father gave me a commandment, what I should say and what I should speak. And I know that his commandment is life everlasting. He had to believe and have a hope in that. See, a lot of people don't have a believe in a hope or expectation of receiving something according to the promise of Yahuwah. That's why we don't love him. Because if we loved him, we would bear all things, and we would believe all things, and we would endure all things, and we would suffer all things. That man was showing his long suffering on that stake when he told him, he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Every time this man healed somebody, these people sat back and called this man Beelzebub. And he still dealt with these people. Remember when they couldn't get that unclean spirit out of that person? He said, "Oh, faithless generation, how long shall I suffer thee? How long shall I have to deal with you disobedient, disbelieving people?" What about when he healed the man with the withered hand and he looked upon the room and he was angry because of their hard hearts and he still was suffering these people? Moses still suffered the people. That's the hallmark of showing you Elohim. If you can deal with somebody who is consistently doing you wrong and you don't seek to avenge yourself, nor respond angrily, nor do any evil back towards them in return, you will be manifesting the love of Elohim at that point. You will be manifesting love your enemies. Because long suffering is a fruit of the Ruach, which means that word would have fell in your heart and died, and that would have been the fruit of it as it had began to bloom. See, we want to look and say type of stuff. We got to be able to pinpoint that. Who can do that? Who got the heart to do that? It's easy to rock with niggas who you know gonna ride with you. That's your friends. They love you. It's easy to do that. It's easy to do that. It's nothing to do that. The master told you that. He said you ain't. When he say what thank have ye, I mean he telling you ain't got no reward for that. You won't get nothing from me behind it. He say, what thank have ye? What reward you got for that? He say, don't the publicans do that? He say, you look down at the publicans as sinners and transgressors. Don't the sinners do that? But you supposed to be righteous. He say, your father in Shamahim, he do it. He say, how about you be perfect like he perfect and do that too? Ooh, that tight right there. That's what making a lot of niggas go to hell, because they're not going to be able or willing to do it. They're not going to be able, and they're not going to be willing. That's something to think about. That's something to weigh in your head if you're going to sit back and say, love suffereth long and bears all things and endures all things. Who would endure persecution and tribulation for the word and keep going? We done read it so many times where Paul say, I've been stoned. I was beaten three times, 39 save one. Several times. He kept going. I just told Will, right? We could go down there to that little thing and we go to popping the information all about Mashiach. Boy, this boy might want to put hands on us. Don't you know some of you niggas' natural inclination, you going to want to fight back? You ain't going to feel like how Peter felt. They counted themselves worthy to suffer shame for his name and got up rejoicing. Your natural inclination is you going to want to fight and defend yourself. Just showing forth that you carnal, because you wouldn't count it that would be something worthy to take. You wouldn't be able to bear that and suffer that. Because that's what happened with Peter in Acts chapter 3 where they beat on them. They suffered shame. They endured that because they counted worthy that they were able to suffer shame for his name. We sit back and say that he's a man of sorrows and he was shamed and despitefully used and the people did all that stuff. But we look at it as that's him. See, I ain't finna go through that. Nigga ain't gonna do that to me. I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna kill me a nigga. And you supposed to be in the word. Ain't nowhere in the world. That means you saw Mashiach not in you because you wouldn't be willing to suffer those things. You didn't see Paul ready to fight when these people stoned him. He ain't think no evil in his heart. I'm going to fight back and kill these niggas. These niggas just stoned me. Them niggas got to see me. Because his faith was in Elohim. He's an avenger. Yahuwah's an avenger. He's an avenger. He gonna come see you because he sure came to see Saul. He sure came to see Amalek. And a whole bunch of other people who had done somebody wrong. He came to see Joab for what he did to Abner and what he did to Amasa. He came and seen him. He came and seen Adonijah. He came and seen Ammon. He came and seen the people for what they did. See, we don't believe that though. The stream has went offline. And now it is online. Wowzers. He seen what them people did, man. And he came and seen them about that. He came and seen them about that. What's the next thing I need right? Let me go ahead and show y'all this real fast before we get on up out of here, man. Some of this stuff gonna have to spill over into the Shabbat. Especially when we dealing with something. 1 John 5 and 7, especially when we dealing with something Well, Job 16 and 19, and then John chapter 5, especially dealing with something that I got when we were talking about Jacob. Job 16 and 19. Just sit back and think about what is my strength that I should hope and what is my end that I should prolong my life. Your strength that you should hope is your faith in Mashiach. The end that you should prolong your life is laying your life down. I know I mentioned John chapter 6, right? And John chapter 3. That's when he say, well, let me go and get that John chapter 3 while I'm grabbing it, Job 6, and read that down. I can tell you what John 6 and 62 say. I'm about to quote the man in John chapter 3, though. I already felt myself about to do that. John chapter 3 and verse 11. He say, truly, truly, I say unto thee, we speak that we do know, and testify that we have seen, and you receive not our witness. He said, you don't receive our witness. And he said, we. We. He's speaking in plural here. We. Why would he say we when it's just him talking to another man? He said, we. I'm going to read that to you again now. Truly, truly, I say unto thee, we speak that we do know. So clearly he's talking about him and someone else. And testify that we have seen, and you receive not our witness. If I've told you of earthly things and you believe not, how shall you believe if I tell you of heavenly things? And no man ascend up to Shamahim, but he that come down from Shamahim, even the Son of Man which is in Shamahim. And in John 6 and 62, he say, what? And if you see the Son of Man ascend up to where he was before. So his belief and hope is that he was going to return back to where he came from, picking up all rule, authority, and dominion of which he laid down in the first place in order that we might live through him. And that he suffered us. He came into his own received him not. This man suffered shame. This man suffered death for our sakes. Now let's look at Job 16 and 19. Because this man said, we testify. We have seen. 16 and 19, Job. Listen what he say. Also now behold. Huh? What'd you say? Oh, you ain't talking to me. Say, also now, behold, my witness is in Shamahim, and my record is on high. So he said his witness is in Shamahim, and his record is on high. John 5 and 30. Remember, he said we witness. After John 5 and 30, John chapter 14. I'm just sharing this with y'all because I dropped a little bit of this stuff on the brother last night. So I just feel like it'd be only right to share that with y'all. John 5 and 30. I can of my own self do nothing. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is just, because I seek not my own will, but the will of the Father which sent me. If I bear witness of myself, my witness is not true. Why is that witness not true? Because our own Torah tells us what? You need 2 or 3 witnesses to establish a matter. Can't establish this off one witness. He said, there's another that bear witness of me, and I know that he witness which he witness of me is true. Ye sent unto John, and he had witness unto the truth, but I receive not testimony from man, but these things I say that ye might be saved. This man said, I don't receive testimony from man. Now Job just said, my witness is on, my record is on high, my witness is in Shamahim. Surely this ain't about Job. What witness would Job have on high? What record would Job have on high? Let's look at the Hebrew word for record in that verse, because what record would Job have on high? You got to think about that. Who is he talking about? Because he can't be talking about himself. When we look at record, it's just simply sahad. It's a witness. So Job got a witness on high. This man said twice he got 2 witnesses on high. The first word is ed. This same witness, testimony, evidence of things, witness of people, a recorder. I.e. prince, witness, concretely a witness. He got a witness. The master just said, I got a witness. John chapter 14, verse 26. Let's look at another witness, because the son is talking that the father's a witness. Let's see who he says is a witness right here. But the Comforter, which is the Ruach HaKodesh, whom the Father will send in my name, he shall teach you all things and bring all things to your remembrance whatsoever I said unto you. Now this man is saying that the Ruach is a witness. Let's look at John chapter 15. In verse 26, but when the Comforter is come, whom I will send unto you from the Father, even the Ruach of truth, which proceed from the Father, he shall testify of me. And you shall also bear witness because you have been with me from the beginning. So he say the Ruach will bear witness of him. Now I'm going to sit back and I'm going to show y'all, son. 1 Peter chapter 2. I'm sorry, 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 19. After 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 19, I'll see if I'm going to use it or not. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 19. I'm sorry, 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 19. I'm sorry. 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 19. And then Hebrews chapter 3. I'm going to go on and use it. We have a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto you do well that ye take heed, as a light that shine in a dark place until the day dawn and the day star arise in your hearts. Knowing this first, that no prophecy of the scriptures of any private interpretation. For the prophecy came not in the old time by the will of men, but Kadash men of Elohim spake as they were moved by the Ruach HaKadosh. So when we're looking at something, let's look at Hebrews chapter 3. Before we look at 1 John 5 and 7, then I'm going to give you an example to you out the law of the very thing of what 1 John chapter 5 talking about. Hebrews chapter 3, right? Verse 7. It says, wherefore, as the Ruach HaKadosh saith, today, if you will hear his voice. So if it's saying that the Ruach HaKadosh is speaking, he's referring to Psalms 95, that means the Ruach is giving a witness. We just will see what the master say, the Ruach gives witness or testifies of him. In order for the Ruach to testify, it has to have a true witness. He say, seek ye out the book of Yahuwah and read. None of these will fail, everyone shall have their mate. So that means the Father, the Son, and the Ruach are bearing witness to the same thing. He said the testimony of YAHUSHA is the Ruach of prophecy. So we see that these three things have to bear witness. That means the Father's bearing witness of the Son bear witness through his actions and the word that he preached, and the Ruach, which is the prophecy of the word, bears witness of the Son. All these agree in one, that YAHUSHA is the Son of the living Elohim. Period. 1 John 5 and 7. For there are three that bear record in Shamahim, the Father, the Word, and the Ruach HaKadosh, and these three are one. Remember, Job said, my witness is in Shamahim, and my record is on high. Now, I know like what the discussion that was being had, which I wasn't really trying to entertain that part because I was in agreement on that. There is no such thing as a Trinity. And, you know, we know that Trinity ain't nothing but Isis, Osiris, and Horus. And that's where it come from. Or a triune element. But us knowing the word should know that the Ruach is just the essence of Elohim, or what manifests the prophecy. The prophecy is the spirit of Elohim. That's it. The Ruach is the essence of Yahuwah. Period. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why Christian people look at it and say the Ruach is God. It's the essence of Elohim. It's the essence of God. It's not him. But we know the Father and the Son are one. It's like I asked last night. It says that if something is Echad, it's two things that are unified or meet in agreement. You can't be Echad if you're single, if you're singular. That doesn't make any sense. I wouldn't need to be Echad with myself. Why would I be joined to myself? That doesn't make any sense. When you say some things that just use simple common sense. All you got to do is just use simple common sense. If we're going to look at the definition of the word itself, we have to use simple common sense. And then it's sitting back and we can see that it's telling us something. Because if something is Echad, it's one, it's a number, each is certain and definite, only, once and for all. Another, the one, the other, after another, first and 11 in combination. Properly alike, a man, some, or together. So when we sit back and we look at this here, that's why you say there's one body. It's a card, or a man shall be joined to his wife and they'll be one flesh. They're unified. They meet together. They meet in agreement. All this thing is going back to when it say the Father, the Son, and the Ruach bear witness in Shamahim, is that Yah is keeping his own law. He say by the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses must every matter be established. How can we believe that YAHUSHA is the Son of Elohim off the strength of one witness? We need 2 or 3. Or Yah's not keeping his own law. He's not even doing what he told us to do. Let's go back and look at the law for the example that I gave them, but I ain't never shared with y'all before. Exodus chapter 4. Well, honestly, it came to me on the spot. That's why I ain't never shared it before. I'm not going to sit here and tell y'all that I was just holding that and I ain't want to share it. It just came as I was talking to him. Well, as we was having that discussion. Verse 16. Make it verse 14. Exodus 4 and 14. And we'll see an example of that. Of three bearing witness. We're going to see the Father give the word to Moses, and Moses give the word to Aaron. Aaron is a prophet. Therefore, prophets speak as they're moved by the Ruach HaKodesh, like we read in 2 Peter chapter 1. So you will see that Aaron, who is the light bearer, and we know that light going to be manifestation of faith, and faith come by hearing, and hearing come by the word of Elohim, that we would sit back and see that he would be an example of the Ruach. We're going to sit back and see how Moses is made as Elohim. We know that YAHUSHA is made as Elohim, and that he is a prophet like unto Moses, therefore being the son. And then you will see that it was Elohim or Yahuwah or the Father giving Moses the same prophecy, and we see three agreeing in one, bearing witness to the same thing, plain and simple. And the anger of Yahuwah was kindled against Moses, and said, Is not Aaron the Levite thy brother? I know that he can speak well. And also, behold, he come forth to meet thee, and when he see thee, he will be glad in his heart. Thou shalt speak unto him, and put words in his mouth. And I will be with thy mouth, and with his mouth, and will teach you what ye shall do. Same thing that man just said the Ruach was going to do in John chapter 15. Ain't that something else? And he shall be thy spokesman unto the people. Same thing this man just said that the Ruach would do. And he shall be even, and he shall be to thee instead of a mouth, and thou shalt be to him instead of Elohim. And thou shalt take this rod in thy hand, wherewith thou shalt do signs. So let's drop down to verse 28 or 27. And Yahuwah said to Aaron, Go into the wilderness and meet Moses. And he went and met him in the mount of Elohim and kissed him. And Moses told Aaron all the words of Yahuwah who had sent him, and all the signs which he had commanded him. And Moses and Aaron went and gathered together all the elders of the children of Yasharal. And Aaron spake all the words which Yahuwah had spoken unto Moses, and did the signs in the sight of the people. And the people believed when they heard that Yahuwah had visited the children of Yasharal, and that he had looked upon their affliction, and they bowed their heads in worship. So you see that Aaron, the one that brought forth those words to the people. Those were the words that Moses gave to Aaron, which is the word that Yah gave to Moses. And all three of these agreed in one. Giving us an example where we can see that in the law, how that's being manifested. Always remember, you got to have 2 or 3 witnesses. We can't believe Yahusha, the son of Elohim, because he said it. He said, there's one that bear witness of me. He said, I don't take the witness of man. Now, I'm going to say this here because some of y'all didn't see it. I'm not disputing what the brother said he found and looking in the manuscript, because I ain't looked at myself. I'm not disputing that. My point and perspective of in the course of the conversation is that we can see a scriptural background and reference for what we see in this particular spot. Now, whether it was added or not, I wasn't getting into that. What I was saying is that we can take and we can show scripturally that there's a basis for this. That is just 2 to 3 witnesses, in this instant 3 witnesses, bearing witness to one thing. Let's go back in 1 John chapter 5 and see what they was bearing witness to, and then we will stop. 1 John 5 and 7 says, For there is 3 that bear record in Shamahim, the Father, the Word, and the Ruach HaKodesh. These 3 are one. There are 3 that bear witness in the Eras, the Ruach and the water and the blood. These 3 agree in one. If we receive the witness of men, the witness of Elohim is greater. For this is the witness of Elohim which he testified of his Son. He that believe on the Son of Elohim have the witness in himself. He that believe not on Elohim hath made him a liar, because he believed not the record that Elohim gave of his Son. And this is the record that Elohim have given us to us eternal life. And this life is in his Son. He that have the Son have life. He that have not the Son of Elohim have not life. These things have I written unto you, that you believe on the name of the Son of Elohim, that you may know that ye have the eternal life, and that you may believe on the name of the Son of Elohim. Let's look at John chapter 3, verse 30 real fast. So this is what the Father was bearing witness of the Son, and the Son was bearing witness, and the Ruach was bearing witness, that we might receive that witness of Elohim and believe and be saved. John 3 and 31, I should say. He that come from above is above all, and he that is of the Erats is earthly, and speak of the earth. He that come from Shamahim is above all. And when he hath seen and heard, that he testify, and no man receive his testimony, he that received his testimony hath set to his seal that Elohim is true. Whoever can receive the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach will set that Elohim has told the truth. This is one of the reasons why we preach Yahushua HaMashiach and search for him and pull him out. And we will go even more in depth on certain things that was in that Job 6 and 16 that we didn't get with us, also dealing with enduring all things, and also showing that with Jacob, with him being perfect, because I ain't forgot about that. We say he was a plain man, dwelling in the tent, that he was a perfect man, that he was a complete man. And we'll look and see how Jacob endured all things and bared all things and hoped all things, and how his faith sustained him, showing that he believed from the womb. Because remember, he said one would be greater than the other. What made him greater? It was his faith that made him greater. Why? Because that's that 1 John 4. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. See, Esau didn't have nothing in him because he was carnal. This is why the book say one will be stronger than the other. One going to be greater than the other. Because he don't have no faith. He ain't got nothing in him. So let me tell you something, right? He said, where's my strength that I should hope? And we know that trusting in Yah is everlasting strength. So you wonder why some people can endure to the end and hold on to the word in the matter of all face of all tribulation, all persecutions, all sufferings, and others get in certain situations and fold because their faith wasn't existent. It wasn't there. It wasn't there. That's it. You know, it wasn't there. Then you have to sit back and look at why wasn't it there? If you were given the word and you had the tools available for you and you didn't use them, then that's why it wasn't there. Or you didn't believe it. Or you didn't strengthen your faith as you were going along. Therefore, of course, it would be flimsy. And when you would be tried, you would fold. There's many, many different scenarios where it can come in at that you could point to. But the point of the matter is your strength is in your faith. That is where your strength lies. And without it, you have no strength. The Father loved the Son. He that received his testimony is set to his seal that Elohim is true. For he whom Elohim sent speak the words of Elohim. For Elohim give not the Ruach by measure unto him. The Father loved the Son and hath given all things into his hand. He that believe on the Son have everlasting life. He that believe not on the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of Elohim abide on him. So hallelujah for Yahusha right there. We start right there because it's about 8 minutes to 9. To the people on the stream, we definitely appreciate you and bless you out the house of y'all in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. And I love all y'all. Appreciate everybody this evening. I pray that everybody just sit back and consider that. And again, just because it's Wednesday, we don't like to go all the way live and in depth with it. But Shabbat, though, we will. And we're really looking pinpoint at what it means to endure all things and to suffer all things and to have long suffering and to love those that don't love you and to do good to those that don't do good to you, so you can truly show yourself to be perfect like your Father in Shamahim is perfect, and to show forth yourselves to be the sons and daughters of the living Elohim. So again, hallelujah for Yahushua and the word. Everybody on the stream, finna cut it off. I appreciate all y'all. Y'all will on the Shabbat.